Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Distance Dilemma podcast. My name is Shaun, and I am in Dublin, Ireland. This is Imran. He is in Thun, Switzerland, and this is our long distance friendship podcast. This is episode number 52, and we're going to kick things off this week like we do every week with our out of context weekly scenarios. This is the part of the show where me and Imran give each other sections of our week out of context, and the other person has to try and guess what's going on. So, Imran, what is your out of context weekly scenario?
So my out of context weekly scenario for this week is I saw one of our friends look alike.
Do I have to guess which one of our friends?
Well, I want you to guess where it was and who the person is, and you have to try figure it out.
Okay, was this at work?
No,
Was it like doing your shopping?
no,
Were you just like out with friends,
no,
or with like, were you at home
no,
on the bus?
no.
You weren't back in the doctor's pissing in walls again.
Yeah,
You were.
but not. I was, but
Oh,
not
okay,
pissing.
but that's not to do with the context.
No, no,
um, were you just like out for a walk or in the gym?
no, no, no. I was at the doctor's. You
So
got
this is
that?
that. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
This
I just
happened to
wasn't
the
pissing on a
doctors.
wall. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, right. So this happened to the doctors. Now is it just I need to guess who the lookalike was?
Yeah, okay. You can go there. I'll give you the context
So
then after.
one of our close friends, like somebody we both know fairly well,
Yeah, we both know them fairly well. Yeah.
was it Mango?
No.
Jack.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just
So,
trying to like think of people that like
yeah.
have like very like faces you can template onto other people. Like now, who of my friends could like, oh, I've seen other people look like them before, you know?
So, so I was in the waiting room, and I was in the waiting room waiting for my appointment, and then I went to go for my appointment, and then the doctor said, "Oh, actually, I need you to go get another test before we move on. So I'm going to bring you to another waiting room." So I was like, "Grand." So I rocked into the other waiting room, and I sat down, and I realized I'd left my phone in the in my jacket pocket in the doctor's office. So I was like, "Oh crap!" So I'm gonna have to wait now like 15 minutes just in complete silence. Anyway, the place was packed. Like there was loads of people in the waiting room, and then I like looked at like the guy like in front of me, but he was a bit to the left, and he was kind of looking at me, and I kind of made eye contact with him. And then for whatever reason, I just couldn't stop looking at him because he looked like identical to Jack. Like it's just like he had the same like glasses frames that Jack has, like the same hairstyle. The one thing I would say, he was a bit older, and he had a broken arm. And then I like because I like noticed it, and I try and like when you see someone or like you see something that reminds you of someone, but you try not to look at it too much.
Mm.
I just kept finding myself like because I had no phone, I was like looking around the room, but I kept finding myself like dragging my eyes back towards to look at him. And then we do this thing where like he would look at me and I'd look away, and then I'd look at him, and it was like this weird like he probably thinks that I know him, and then but I actually don't, even though
Mm.
I actually don't know him. You just remind me of a guy that I know back at home.
Yeah.
So it's this weird complex going back and forth for like 10 minutes, and then eventually I got called out of the room. But it was so weird, man. Like I wish I could have took a photo because he was like identical to Jacko.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so that's my highlight of my week anyway. So what's your out of context weekly scenario?
My out of context weekly scenario is that I missed a tap in.
Okay, so it's not football.
No,
It's not a football. Has it anything to do with football?
no.
No. Okay.
Tap in.
Does it
It's
have
more.
anything
Of
to
a, it's
do?
more. It's more of a metaphor. This one.
Okay, so you had an opportunity and it was simple, but you didn't take it, essentially.
Yes. Yes. That's a good
Yeah,
way.
okay. Okay. Were you in the house?
No.
No. Was it does this have anything to do when you were at Laughter Lounge at the weekend?
Yes.
Okay. So you weren't at a comedy show, was it a quiz?
Yeah.
It was a quiz, yeah, okay. And was it a general knowledge quiz, music quiz?
Yes.
Okay, so you just got to give me any help here. Okay, so it was general knowledge or music quiz, okay. So was it like an obvious answer that like you just didn't get in the
Yeah.
quiz?
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
okay.
much.
Yeah, okay, okay. I
Yeah,
might,
I'll give that to you. Like,
do
there's
I need
no
to keep
other
going? I was
like.
like, do I need to keep going here? Like, what else
So,
is there to do?
so when you said like general knowledge music, I was like, both of those are correct, you know,
Yeah, okay,
because
yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't like a quiz that was just based on general knowledge or just it was it crossed the board, but there was general knowledge sections and there was a music round, and this is where I missed a fucking sitter of a fucking opportunity. So, I went to a quiz on Sunday night,
Right.
and me and Simone went, and it was great crack. And but there was a music round, and this is the first question of the music round, and the question was it was all being done through an app, and it was put in the letter of the first letter of this band's name, you know. So the music comes on the speakers, and admittedly, the fellow who was hosting the quiz also
Okay.
said the bass is very heavy on this. Can you just turn the bass down on the PA? But because of that,
Right.
the intro of the song was like a really long instrumental thing, and I thought it was a different song. So it was
Right.
like just a heavy instrumental with lots of guitars, bass, and drums, right? And this is a song
Right.
you know as well. Like, this is a song me and you have listened to hundreds of times. We've seen the song together live,
Okay.
and
So it's
but
presumed Arctic Monkeys.
yes, yeah. So,
Okay.
but when it came on, it was so bass heavy, and I could just hear the boom, 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 boom of the bass. And to me, it sounded like "Immigrant Song" by Led Zeppelin. So I like, and you also got more points the quicker you answered as well. That's important context to this. So the quicker you answered, the more points you get.
Okay.
So I just like
Okay.
snapped down, and was like Led Zeppelin, grand. But then like as the bass got turned down about 15 seconds later, I could hear the dun 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 dun
Oh
dun, dun, and
no.
then the first lyric was "Stop making the eyes at me, I'll stop making the eyes at you."
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I was like, "Oh my fucking god! I cannot believe I got that question wrong."
Did Simone was even looking at you like Jesus
Simone was
Christ?
looking at me like, "I told you to wait. I told you to take your time." And but the thing, like, the time was of the essence, because like if you got basically if you were one of the first three to answer, you got 3 bonus points, and we got 2 bonus points. Simone answered the question about Pokemon quickest out of anybody in the room, and she got up on the board.
Love that. Respect the
And
nerd in her.
I think there was like another question that she we got, like we came third, like we were the third quickest to answer the question right. You know, we like drastically over me, because me and Simone really we love quizzes, and we
I was
watch
about to say
quizzes on
all them
TV.
years of watching the chase, I was like, it's definitely gonna come in clutch now.
Yeah, well, that's the so this quiz was hosted by one of the chasers from the chase.
No way. Oh, that's
So
the guy you took a photo with on thing. I was like,
yeah,
I know
so
him from. I was trying to think. Like, I saw him from somewhere before, but I couldn't think of it.
yeah,
Like who he was. But
so
anyway, go
yeah,
on.
Dara from the chase, the Irish chaser.
Alright.
He was
Yeah.
hosting the quiz, and me and Simone love the chase, and Dara is easily both of our favorite chasers, so we're like, yeah, no brainer, and dropped us right there. And he honestly, it was a great quiz, like quiz was good crack, but he is so sound, like he is one of the nicest famous people I've ever met in my life. You know, he was like, it's got like our bus like dropped us outside the venue, and like it dropped us there 2 minutes before doors opened, and like there wasn't really a queue to get in, so like we got there. I'd say we're like fifth or sixth to walk in the door, and we got like it wasn't like assigned seats, like you just turned up, and
And
the
say
people
whatever.
well, no, the people there would give you a seat based on your team size. So it was just me and Simone, but there was also teams of like three, four, five, six, like, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
we
I
went
get you.
up, and because we were only two, we got put like right up the front, right under his lip, and
Oh,
I was expecting like him to not. I didn't really know what to expect when it came to like, you know, him like meeting people and taking photos and blah blah. But like we were. I hadn't even taken my jacket off, and he came out to people, and he walks up and he goes, "Hi, I'm Dara," and we're like, "Yeah, we know who you are." Didn't say that to him, like, you know, but we're like, "Yeah, oh my god, you're fucking Dara from the chase," and like we shook his hand. We were just chatting to him for 2 seconds, and like he was going around, and like he came up to everyone, made sure like their phone was like, you know, charged up enough, and made sure like they had the right app installed, and making sure they were synced into the game. Like he spent like an hour going around doing this and taking photos with people, and like he got up on stage and was like, "Everybody, I am okay. If anybody wants me to take a photo, send a video to somebody, do something stupid. This is all part of the gig. I get paid to do this and be on TV and answer questions. He was so sound. He's such a nice
I mean,
fella,
not a bad
honestly.
job when you think about it.
No, yeah. But honestly, if you ever get the chance to meet Daryl from the Chase, ladies and gentlemen, he is sound. He's one of the nicest celebrities I've ever met in my life. He's such a cool dude.
Where'd you place?
Right, listen.
Okay, so he's disappointed. He's disappointed.
So me and Simone were confident, because Simone's really smart. As you know, Simone's got Simone has got a really big IQ, and Simone just knows mad shit, right? Especially when it comes to animals, because she used to study veterinary. I also I'm quite good, obviously, with music, quite good with sports, and I've got. I would say I have pretty decent general knowledge. I'm good with film and TV and stuff as well. So me and Simone were we don't think we're going to win, but we were I reckon we could get in the top 20. There was 85 teams at this quiz, and we came 60th. We were expecting to
that just shows the levels, though, innit? This shows the levels of people that are really good.
I think we finished on I think the lowest you could get is I think it was about 250. I think we finished on 650, 750. So we didn't do horribly bad, but the people who won got 1,500 points, and that's from answering quickly.
Jeez.
Listen, and there was also a round where you could gamble your points as well. So it would just be random general knowledge questions. There were things would pop up, but you could gamble 0, 10, 20, or 30 points. So if you didn't answer the question correctly, you would lose 30 points, but if you answered correctly, you would get 30 points, and you could basically gamble it,
Quizzes are good crack.
Oh man, yeah, honestly, I was saying, we'd love to do one with you guys at some point, obviously when you're home for long.
We actually do a quiz in my pub, so that actually might be a good idea for next time you come over. We do a quiz every Monday, so that might be, it'd be hard for me to get off, but I'll definitely sure I could request it or something. But yeah, it'd be good to have yous over, a nice little bit of quiz knowledgeable players on the team. I'm kind of like the guy who knows maybe 5 answers and then just tries his best then to just numb it down. I love that thing everybody does during a quiz where you are so confident that you know the answer, and then you start doubting yourself once you write it down. You're wait, is that the right answer or not? But your instinct is telling you, yeah, that's the right answer, and you're There
was actually one question which he got incorrect. So when everyone answered, there was loads of people that's not correct, and it was because it was an old number, but it's since been updated. But when he made the quiz, it was correct, and it was how many TDs are in the doll. And I don't know when he wrote this quiz, but he obviously at one point, and this was correct at one point as well, because we answered the correct answer, but we answered the answer that it actually is, but he got it wrong when setting it, and because somebody said it to him, was Dara, there's 174 TDs in the doll, and he's no, there's 154, and it became a thing of we had to go and check it.
Used to be 154.
It used to be 154.
Yeah,
and after the most recent election, it's 100. And obviously, Dara doesn't live in Ireland anymore, so we just probably have
okay. It's so funny though, when a person that's your job, and then you get caught out, and it's oh.
And he bluntly said with Mike, he's right, well, I set the questions, and anybody who answers that, sorry, you're not getting the points. We have to move on. We haven't got enough time to fix stupid little problems like that. So he said, tough luck. There wasn't a prize. You won a plastic trophy that cost 20 quid. He was saying
that the crack is better than that now. It's that's why most people do quizzes anyway.
It's for the music round, man. You'd swear we were in the point for the people singing along, because another one that I got wrong that I was fuming with, which again I pressure press this because time is of the essence and you get more points, is it was what's the first letter of the name of this song, and so it's an 80s song, and it's the with some synths and that kind of thing. So the song that it was, the correct answer was "Take On Me" by Aha.
Oh, okay.
You know how that song starts off with the drums and synth, right?
Yeah.
But again, because of the bass and the PA, and you're under time pressure, I was oh, that's Man-Eater.
Oh, you automatically. During the 80s, though, a lot of the songs were that.
But that's
the
it.
format of how they were made.
I'm not a million miles off with it. They have very, very similar intros. It was more just the PA was yeah, you kind of did have to wait for them to start singing in that, or for like a part of like a really notable part of the song to come up. Otherwise, it was really hard to tell. Like but yeah, I was kind of fuming with those two answers.
You won't be sleeping at night now the rest of the week thinking about
No, no.
it.
Anyway,
But yeah.
we're moving on to our topic for the weekend. This kind of moves in nicely. This is like quizzes have been one of those things that like in my twenties have like become. I didn't ever think I'd be somebody who like loves quizzes. Like like me and Simone have been talking about going and doing quizzes for ages. Like go and do a pub quiz. Like try and play them just for a bit of crack and like bring the likes of you guys on. But there's lots of other simple pleasures that have come along in life. If you said 10 years ago, I love doing some of these mundane tasks. Like I'd have been like hardly. But aging like a fine wine, I am, so to speak. But yeah, we want to talk about our favorite things to do, like our favorite little things to do, like the little joys in life, things that
The simple things.
the simple things, like things that we weren't expecting to be like you to be really fond of doing in our mid 20s. Do you want to kick things off with this, or would you like me to go ahead?
I'll go first. The first one I wrote down was when you actually asked me. It was like probably one of my top five favorite things to do in the world is just talk shite with your mates. Like I'll give you an example, right? Shaun rang me yesterday at like 9:30, 10 a.m. I literally just went and took a shite, and then he was ringing me, and that's why I was like, I can't answer. I was also on the phone to Nicola, so poor Nicola had to listen to me take a shit. And then don't worry, I put her on song. And then I walked in, and then Shaun just flipped his camera on and just showed me him eating uh, a crusty corner roll, and I was just like, "This is peak life right now. This is just like how I expected my day to start." So I just love the idea. Now maybe it isn't for someone, but like most of my mates drink, but I love the concept of just sitting around in an old man's pub or like sitting at your mate's gaff and just sitting and talking shite. Like it could genuinely just be about stuff you're interested in. It could be about like your daily week. It could be in-depth conversations about, I don't know, color schemes and cinematography, or it could be genuinely like you hear about Bill Bob down the road. Like I just love talking shit with my mates. Like that's one of my top five things to do in the world. And like
Yeah,
even now, like we have a podcast. The whole concept of it was just talking, well, relatively about the distance dilemma, but a lot of it is just me and you talking shit, like we always do.
this is true. This is very true.
Yeah. That's very true.
Yeah, I
And I
love
think it's one
that.
of them things that people miss in life. Like you don't think about it until like in these situations where like we don't, you can't meet in person and stuff.
Yeah, I suppose it's a lot more like amplified for you because like the people that you're meeting over there. I know you know a lot of Irish, but because you're meeting also like people who are obviously Swiss and also from like different like backgrounds and
Art,
cultures and
yeah,
stuff, like it might not like the shy talking might not translate as well, like or like it might not mean as much in like in a different culture or a different context as it does for us, like or for you, like because we're such wafflers. I love that. Like I love like having people over in the house, like and chatting shit. Like like I'm not the biggest fan of. I don't like doing it in pubs because like sometimes when pubs get really loud and you have to like shout in each other's
shout
faces.
over each other.
I
Yeah.
don't.
That's
But
what's in
like
old man pubs.
yeah, like well, that's it. Like 12 o'clock Sunday before the Carvery crowd get in. Yeah, fair enough. Or like over a Carvery before like it gets too rowdy. Yeah, absolutely. But like Saturday night, it's just see the
No.
score of the match of the weekend. No, not for me.
Yeah. No.
But
No.
yeah,
No.
I personally love that in like the context of like my house. Like I love having people over and just sitting over tea and chatting shy.
Yeah. It's a nice little pleasure to have in life.
Yeah.
What about you? What's on your list?
So one of the things I'm not going to talk about quizzes anymore because quizzes was on there.
I'm gonna end up naming this episode quiz, or Sean loves quizzes.
Shaun loves it. Yeah, that's it. Honestly, one of the things that like sparked this in my head was something I love as an adult. I love the food shop. I love going to the
Yeah.
food shop, man. Honestly, it's just so. And it's gas because Simone hates it. Like Simone every week is like, "Oh, we have to go and do this," and I'm like, "Yeah, we have to go and do this." You know. Yeah, I don't know. I just something about it that I like, even though like I'm not the biggest fan of like busy public spaces. Like now, to be fair, we've like planned it the last few weeks where we are going when it's quiet. Like we're going like Friday, Saturday nights, like where everyone's off in the pub drinking. That's when we go to our weekly shop. Like or when everyone's in
Yeah.
work and stuff like that's when we try and go and do our shopping. But I don't know what it is. I like going in and picking out my food for the week and like planning my week ahead. Like I'm somebody who likes to plan and organize. I like being like, yeah, fish on Monday, burgers on Tuesday, pasta Wednesday. Like, I love being like organized like that, and I love like, yeah, I don't know, I just enjoy the food shop, and it's gas because like you'll swerve in and out of aisles, and like the way our Duns is set up is like you'll go into, let's say, like the crisps aisle, and then like you'll walk straight, and then you're into like the home cleaning aisle. So you've got like bleach and floor cleaner and wipes and all. Could not be arsed with that. Like my mood actually goes down when I go
So
into
you're
that
just
aisle.
focused on food. It's not the appliances.
It's
Like you
just
couldn't
the
give a shit
food,
about the
really.
appliances.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
the
yeah.
food. So like my mood will like kind of like drop a little as I'm going into that, and then like we'll come back round and we'll head on to the ethnic food section, where I say ethnic food, right? It's like microwave rice, tin tomatoes, pasta, Mexican. Oh, and I spend a good 5 minutes every single week in the weekly shop looking at the Mexican section because I fucking love Mexican food, and I'd say probably only every 3 weeks I probably buy something because I love Mexican food, but Mexican food is so high in calories. Like,
Oh,
so you have
also
to be
destroys your
really,
stomach.
yeah, and you have to be really playful with how. Well, not all Mexican food is high in calories, but like if I'm having Mexican, I want guac, I want fucking
Yeah, yeah. You
tacos,
want to go all out, like.
I want a bit of like I want a bit of everything, and like to do that, it is it's gonna like, even if I do things like the low cal way, like it's gonna be like minimum 800 calories. So like I've got a plan ahead for that in my current state. So yeah, and then like loving that. Go down the cereal aisle, loving life, blah blah. I don't even eat cereal, but I just like looking at it. And
You'd
then
swear Finn is in the shop for about 2 hours and Simone's just with him like, for fuck's sake,
dragging our
hurry
heels,
up, like,
oh,
yeah,
fucking
like,
hell. I love the food shop, man. It's just simple pleasures.
it's like when you're a kid and you come home and like there's no like snacks or anything in the house, and then your mom comes back and she doesn't tell you that she does a food shop, and you open the fridge and it's just like stacked with like all the yogurts and all the packets of crisps in the house, chocolate digestive biscuits. You'd be buzzing. You'd just be, for about 2 weeks you'd be like happiest man alive. But I don't know who's doing a food shop for 2 weeks. I don't know why I said
Yeah,
that.
it's kind of
Normally it lasts like 3 days.
listen. Like it's the only thing about it is like you can't really bulk buy in Duns and
No,
stuff like that. We actually went out to Musgraves last week just to buy a few things in bulk because like Simone loves the Red Bull, so we bought like a crate of Red Bull for like it was like
shout out
40
to the
quid,
wholesalers.
but that's it. Like and like I bought like a tray of eggs. I think it was like 6 quid for like 24 eggs or something like that.
Scrambled eggs all week. So
Literally had scrambled eggs right before we started recording, yeah. But like, see, I eat so many eggs, like even with like lunches and dinners, like, I'm just having for breakfast, and like this is like another thing that I've like kind of been turned on to, I suppose. I never, up until a few weeks ago, liked pancakes. Today,
really,
as we're recording, it's Pancake Tuesday today, actually.
oh yeah,
I have never ever liked pancakes. It's just one of those things. It's one of those foods that I've never like hated them or like been like, oh, pancakes, but I've just never
not
like.
even not even crepes.
No, I've
That's mad.
never wanted them until recently. Simone one was like, weeks was like, oh, I really want pancakes. I was like, yeah, make pancakes. Like I will eat them, but I was never like craving them, or I was never like I'd never order pancakes when we went out. I don't know what it is. Simone made them, and I've been like hooked on pancakes. But like I think I only ever really had like sweet pancakes before. These were savory. These were like pancakes, maple syrup and bacon.
Yeah,
And
tops.
I'm all for that now.
Ask Nicola, I'm a go-with pancake maker. I have to say, it's a little quality that I kept to myself for a long time, but I really think when they look back at one of the greats, I'll be up there top three.
Okay,
Like the
fair
Turkish
enough.
lads. Like when you go on holidays to like Spain or something, man, it's like 9 o'clock at night and you just had dinner and you're walking by like the seaside and there's just a Turkish lad there with his little stall making crepes, and I tell you, they do be hitting. They do be hitting. And a bit of Nutella, a bit of strawberries. Can't go wrong.
On a similar vibe to pancakes, one thing I do absolutely love is a Yorkshire pudding. Oh, Yorkshire puddings they're basically deep fried pancakes that you
Do you,
bake.
do you stuff your Yorkshire puddings?
That's
Like when you have your
a Yorkshire pudding in my eye is a meat delivery system, similar to
okay,
akin to bread and wraps. But yeah,
right.
in the ideal scenario, I'll have two Yorkshire puddings with me roast, and I'll load one up with like roasties, meat and gravy, and I'll load the other one up then with like carrots, broccoli, maybe like a bit of mash if there's mash as well, and like put gravy on that as well. One's for meat and one's for veg, you know.
I love how tactical men's brains are.
Oh yeah,
It's like we automatically like anything we do, even like in the smallest things, we have to like make a whole set piece routine, train it. It's you
it's
swear like
it,
we're a professional like Premier League manager like.
it's efficiency. That's all I'm saying. I want
It's
to get
efficiency.
yeah, I want to get the most
Moving
out of what
back
I have.
to the lovings in life, I also had, after a long, hard week with not seeing your partner due to missed schedules and stuff, is there's nothing better on a Friday evening.
The
You're off
delight.
work. Nicola finishes at 4. That too, but on the couch, movie on, blanket on. For us, it's the heating, but a nice in an ideal where it'd be like Sean says, where he's got a fireplace on, and having munchies and a takeaway is like top tier, you know, things in life for me. And I like, do you know what it is? It's kind of like this thing. You don't want to sometimes waste your weekends because it's like you don't have that much time together. So you feel like, oh, we have to go off and do something and spend time together. But then also there's other weeks where it's like me and Nicola and like, do you know what? We've both had a hard, long, busy weeks. All we want to do is just chill out, watch movies, bit of grub on, and just flake out. Like I think that has to be like up there top things. Like
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful. What about you? Any more on the list?
Do you know another like little simple thing is I love a Butler's.
You were talking about this last week about when you're saying like you're not really mad about going for coffee with like your mates, but then recently it's like you would suggest to them, oh, let's go get a Butler's. Do you get a hot chocolate?
Yeah, I get a white hot chocolate because I am a fiend for Milky Bars. Like Milky Bars are my kryptonite. It's the one thing like in my since I've started like my diet that like I've had to find ways to work in Milky Bar. You know. So like I'll have in the fridge at all times in our house there's Milky Bar yogurts, whether it's the mousse or it's the
Are you
thicker.
talking about the white Milky Bar with the cowboy fell on it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
I
Sorry,
I
I didn't know if
I,
you were
I
saying Milka Bar or Milky Bar.
yeah, no
It is
Milky
called
Bar.
Milka Bar. I don't know. No, it's two different things, aren't they? Yeah, two
Milky
different
now
things.
Milky Bar is the purple one with the cow.
Yeah, yeah, with the cow,
That's
with the
I
cow.
think it's
Yeah,
more popular like in Europe, like it's like their
yeah. That's very
Cadbury's.
much like you go on holidays and there's like a massive one at the airport and you buy it for like your cousin or something like that.
Exactly, yeah. It's it's one of those bars I always had when I was like away. When you're like on a summer
Yeah.
holiday because you can't get a lot of Cadbury's or like they just don't have the ingredients to stay in the heat. Whereas something about the Milka bars, they never melt. You know.
They're
Uh,
glorified.
but yeah, anyway, I just love Milky Bars and like a white hot chocolate from Butler's is like it's pretty much just like drinking a Milky Bar. But yeah, it's one of those things that last week or the week before I actually ordered some white hot chocolate pods from Butler's online.
Buying.
So because what I ended up doing the last few weeks is I had been going up to Butler's. Simone would like want to get a Starbucks, and then I'd be like, okay, I'll go get a Butler's. But the Starbucks is a drive-through up in Liffey Valley. I would end up driving but like into the shopping centre in Liffey Valley, get myself a Butler's, but then you have to pay for the parking as well. So for me to get that Butler's, it was like fucking 650. Including the
Worth it.
parking, It was it.
Worth
I had
it.
done it like 3 times, and I was like, nah, this like is not fucking work. Like it's financially, it's not like, and especially like they don't stay that hot for that long. They're like the way they make their hot chocolates as delicious as they are. They need to be gone within 5 minutes because they just don't hold heat. Um,
Sean
so
going to get a mortgage and they're looking at your 50,000 subscriptions for butlers.
but so what I done was I bought the pods for at home, and I made one at home on Sunday, and
They hit the same or not really?
it so it was missing, that kind of barista style kind of frothing. So what I done was because the way you have to make it is you have to make it like in a like literally in a saucepan and like mix the pod in to. I'm sure you could do it like in a mug and stuff as well, but that's the way they tell you to do it. So what I done was I'm after buying one of those like hand whisks for
Yeah,
frothing. They're like
yeah.
£5. I bought one of those on Amazon that should get here tomorrow. And I'm gonna try and do it like that. And I think once I have that, I'll have it down to a T.
Brother's really locked into the simple things in life right now.
Yeah,
He's
for
doubling down
facts.
on
Oh facts.
it. Yeah, another thing
Facts.
I had was doesn't really like applicable to me at the moment, and it hasn't been for like the past year and a half. But walking the dog, I used to love walking Bruno. Like, because I used to do a lot of shifts at the time when I came back from Inter and I started working in a retail job. So a lot of the shifts I would do was like 8 to 4, 8 to 5, and like first thing is try beat the traffic, which is kind of impossible trying to leave Blanchardstown at 5. Would always try to take the back way. But anyway, we get home about 5:45, straight in the door, Bruno, out the door, walk 40 minutes. And you know what? It's great for the head. I have to say, like after like a long stressful day in retail, when you're being overly nice to people for 8 to 9 hours, just walking the dog is a great relaxation. Not just for obviously the dog, but for you, I have to say was one of the best things. It's definitely something as well I miss about Bruno is even just the concept of just walking him. It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
I had dogs
yeah. I
down
mean,
in
you probably have a
as
bit
well.
more flexible now with Zena. You probably use her walk her every day, I'd say.
No, Xena can't go for a walk every day. She's too old.
Okay, so
She'll be
not able
11
for anymore.
in a few weeks. Yeah, so she's just like you could do it with her, but she like if you walk her, we walk her like I'd say like 3 times a week, kind of average. I'd usually bring her out like on a kind of Thursday and like one of the days the weekend, a Saturday or Sunday, and Simone will get her out another day normally. But she's just not able for it. Like even like if you brought her for a walk on like Saturday, she'd still be tired from that walk Sunday night. It's like sorry, if you brought her out on a Saturday, she'd still be tired from that walk Sunday night. Like then Monday, then she's got a bit more energy about her, like but you can still tell like she's just an older dog, like.
Yeah, it
Um,
happened.
I do feel bad. Like I brought her for a walk on Saturday, and then me and Simone decided to go for a walk ourselves. And like we knew we were going for like a bit of a decent walk. Like we knew we'd be out for like 45 minutes plus. If it was like less than 20 minutes, we would have brought her. But we
Yeah.
like left to go for a walk, and she's just like watching us leave the house. I felt so bad. I hate going for walks without her because like I'll often do that. I'd say like twice a week I'd go for a walk without the dog. Just
Yeah,
because
yeah,
she
of
doesn't
course.
need it. I do feel awful whenever I do that.
Yeah, it's kind of this thing. It's like you feel like so guilty just going out to get some air and not bringing the dog with you. It's like some, I don't know, misconception of like going out on walks by yourself is just like, oh, I can't leave the dog alone.
Yeah.
Another one I had was I know it's something that you actually fell out of quite at a young age, but for me it was just gaming. It's been something that when I was younger I was really into. Like I spent a lot of time gaming, and then nowadays because of workload, like spending time with Nicola and making sure and keep in contact with friends and the podcast, and actually going out and doing stuff for myself, it's not something I get to do a lot. But for me, it's a great way just to clock out from the world, just to put your log into something. And it's something I go in and out of. Like there's periods where I play it a lot, and then there's periods where like I don't play for months. But yeah, it's something that for me it's just nice to just zone out and clock in, clock out kind of thing. You kind of probably experience that a bit with the Switch as well. Sometimes you were saying like you like to play it as well.
Yeah, we don't. We have honestly we haven't played that together in a long time. Like I don't think I picked up the Switch controller like probably since I was actually in yours. It was probably the last
Yeah,
time I actually properly played it. Simone plays it a couple of times a week now, but yeah, I kind of just fell off the ladder with gaming. I even to be fair, when I say I gamed, I played FIFA, GTA, and like whatever COD my mates were playing.
the basic games. Yeah,
I
yeah.
played like I wasn't like I was never the biggest gamer. Like my most played game would have been FIFA. And I remember very specifically I stopped playing like as I started to get into music more. I remember I'd done the musical, and like I basically like just stopped because I hadn't got time because I was in work. I was doing a musical and I was going to school, and I just like didn't have the time to play it. And I went like 4 months without playing like any sort of Xbox or anything like that, just purely by like being too busy to do it.
That's what happens, I think, as well. It's like, yeah, there's even times where like I'll come home from work and it's like I'm too tired to even hop on to actually like have to focus and play because like obviously you need to like if you're playing like any like first person shooter game, like you need to be able to be aware of what's happening in the game. It's like I'm so tired from like work that all I want to do is just sit on the couch and watch TV because you don't really necessarily, depending on what you're watching, if it's a light watch or a hard watch, you can just chill and just look at the screen. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to think too much about what's going on. So I think that's where like a lot of people do end up falling off, like playing games. And I think that's definitely something for me that I've experienced on and off through my life. Is there anything else you have on your list?
Yeah, I have a nice quiet view. I
A
love
nice
nice quiet
quiet
views.
view. Do you
Yeah,
mean like just like staring out the window, or you mean like just views in general?
just a nice view when it's like nice and calm out. Because I've been finding myself going for my walks recently, and I actually leave my headphones at home because I like am
That's
surrounded
nice.
by so much music in you know my day to day life.
A
So I
noise.
actually find it's
Yeah.
really nice to get out and listen to nature. Now on my walk, a lot of it is like how he is and young ones screaming at each other from across the street, and you know listening to cars go by on the main road. But when the opportunity arises to go for like a nice walk somewhere like in nature, like in a park somewhere, or we went up to the Hellfire Club at one point last year. It's like nice to just like listen to the trees bristle in the wind.
The nature.
You
The
know,
nature.
just pure
It's like your
nature.
man, Bob. What's
Bob
the guy's
Ross.
name that draws? Bob Ross. Yeah.
Yeah,
just
Bob
just
Ross is a
just a
fucking
glance
legend.
here. Bob Ross is like a cult classic legend, guys.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
have a nice memory of Shaun when he came. Is
Oh,
there's like this outdoor swimming area where near to where I live that me, Simone, and Nicola went to on the only day that the weather was good when they came. And we were getting ready to leave like within the next 15 minutes. We were packing our stuff away, but we were looking like where Sean was like, I'm just going to take a photo. And we are like, okay, grand, because like where the lake is, there's like the mountains and it's very nice, whatever. And it was just this, like I was just watching Sean just like gasping, like he was like taking a video of the mountains, and then he like kind of like put his phone away, and he just like stood there like a dad with his hands behind his back, just taking in the view, taking in everything, absorbing the moment. And then I have like a funny video that maybe we can actually use for the clips this week is like of you walking back with your shades on. You know what I'm talking about? It's like you look a bit like Moto Moto.
no, what?
Okay, I'll send it to you after the podcast. You'll know what I'm
I've
talking
not
about.
seen this footage before.
You have. It's like you're walking and you have like such a serious face and you have shades on and your hair is like blowing in the wind. It's like something out of a film, but I'll send
Fucking
it
sex
to you.
icon. But yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
that's a really good example of like I like to like sit in a view and just like watch it and like I remember like looking at those mountains and like look it was just like like I said it was a nice day out and there wasn't a lot of sound like even like at that like there was the not to sound like really creepy saying this like no but there was like kids far away playing in the park or like at the playground and stuff like so like it
Careful
was
now.
nice yeah I mean this I don't mean this as a pedophile ladies and gentlemen I swear to God but like it's just nice to like listen to nature and like life kind of just going by like like in that way.
I get what you mean because we're around so much noise all the time. Like for example, like you in the workplace, and then for me would be like a kitchen where it's so loud, like a pub
Mm.
all the time. It's just noise. So like even after work, like I never listen to music. Or like I used to, but not having in the past like 3 months. When I finish work, like I just don't listen to music at all because I just want to completely just zone down after a long hard day. But
Mm.
yeah, the simple things in life, people. The simple things.
Yeah. Do you have anything else yourself?
I've nothing like I've small things, but nothing worth like that's mentioning that I think people relate to too much. I mean, like I like Lego. I mean, people can probably if you're on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, or you will be next week, you can see I have a lot of Lego behind me. I just find it like calming. I don't know. That's probably the easiest way to say. I think
Mm.
it's good to find a habit like that's like soothes you and calms you down. Like for Nicola now, she started like knitting, and I think I think we were talking about this before. Like it's like a lot of people have picked up like old traditions and like kind of made them popularize again. I've seen like a lot of girls now, not just girls, but like mainly girls getting into back to knitting and crocheting and this kind of thing. I'm always seeing Instagram pages pack up. But I always think it's good to have like an activity in your life to just calms you down. I remember Shaun used to play the Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel game a lot. That was like one for him.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
don't know if
man.
you can,
I
if you
still
still play that or not.
I don't play it, but I still like engage in the fandom a little. Like 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 I know what's going on a little bit in the TCG, and like I like I watch clips of the anime when it pops up on my for you page, or like I'll watch a video essay on it every once in a while. Like I don't I have cards there. Like I don't have any of my cards from when I was a kid, and like I bought some when I was like 21, 22, like just to kind of like have the basics again, the Dark Magicians, the Exodias, the God cards, like I just and it was just because I was kind of watching the anime and I was feeling nostalgic and stuff, like but like I'm not like super into it. I don't like I'd ever go and play like at a TCG or anything like that.
We might as well be speaking Mandarin right now to our listeners.
Don't pander down. Don't listen here, listeners. Right? Don't let Imran fucking chat shit about you like that. Right? I'm sure plenty of you know about Exodia and Dark Magician Girls Knockers. Right? Don't be letting Imran talk down to you like that. Right?
I would love to
Fucking
see
let you.
one person comment on this episode and to tell me anything about Yu-Gi-Oh! I will be very impressed.
Dark Magician Girl has huge knockers. That's all you need to know.
Oh, Simone, put him in the
I,
doghouse.
I do have one other small one, which I think you'll find interesting. Something I've
Okay.
like really gotten into over the last kind of year. I say really gotten into something I appreciate a lot more now than I ever have
Okay.
in my life, and that is poetry.
Oh, yes, actually, recently because you've been sending me a lot of poetry guys and stuff in the industry that you've met and stuff like that. It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Has that
it's
more been from like just the guy Adam in your band that you've kind of like adapted to this and kind of seen a bit more of it?
a little bit, yeah. Like I obviously like I'll pop down to open mics and stuff. Sometimes I'm playing, sometimes I just go just like Adam, my drummer Adam runs an open mic, so I've been helping him out for the last few weeks. And I think especially in the last couple of weeks, like no, I like I this hasn't just been specifically like the last couple of weeks, but I've been kind of getting more and more exposed to it over the last kind of year or two. But I've been really appreciating some of the stuff I've been like listening to and reading, and like there's some like I feel like I can like I know a good song now when I listen to it. Like I feel like I know a good poem now, and some of them are lovely. Like I've really just like I've found like such a new appreciation for poetry now. Like and I was chatting to Simone the other day about it's like they just teach it the total wrong way in school, because
Yeah,
everyone hates poetry. I like this is a generalization, but a lot of people aren't too fond of poetry when they're in school. Like it's because they teach you fucking Sylvia fucking Black fucking off herself. Like
Robert
that's like
Frost.
yeah. Like and I'm sure like for what they were at their time, they were great. But like poetry is so much more than that, and it took me until going to these open mics and to seeing these spaces to open my mind up to that. To like just like I let people into my life and my songs a little bit. Poets are doing the same thing with poetry, like and the way they can shape what they're saying through metaphors because they don't have the restrictions of trying to make it work in time with the music and stuff. Like it's lovely. Like and I've just for myself, I found a lot of appreciation for it recently.
And I think as well, like it doesn't have to necessarily be structured, and that's the one thing I like. Like with songs,
Mm.
there tends to be, a format, but with poetry, it just tends to be, it could just generally be someone putting words to a page, and it's like how they feel about in a certain situation, and it's
Mm.
just, for me, it's like a pure form of art. Something I've kind of gathered over recent years. I've had a big interest in kind of seeing different things that in Ireland especially is like a big growth now coming from there's some big Instagram pages as well that I've noticed that I came across of up and coming artists and stuff like that. So definitely something for people to check out, I think.
Yeah, I'd like next time you are here for like a good while, where like you might like come out to one of our shows or something
Yeah.
like that. I'd love you to hear some about Adam's like I'm not just saying that it's because he's in my band, like but Adam's poems are so fucking good, and he properly performs them, and he's sick, and there's a couple of poets around Dublin like at the moment like that, but yeah, like I'm looking forward to like the time. Like I assume at some point when you come back to Ireland like full time, like I'd love to bring you out to like an open mic like that where we can go and watch the poets. Like 'cause some of the stuff out there is just so class.
Definitely something we'll do in the future, my dude. Okay, so swiftly moving on for our listeners, we have our pop culture slash current affairs, and I thought I'd bring the first topic up because it just happened, I think, 2 days ago, or yeah, so yeah, one day ago, depending on if you're living in the States or not. The halftime Super Bowl performance was on. I don't know if you watched it, if you stayed up to watch it. Now, I necessarily didn't stay up to watch it because for us it was up at like 4 a.m. in the morning, and most of us had to go to work on Monday. But I watched the Super Bowl performance because Nicola rang me saying how excited she was to watch it. And I don't know if you watched it, if you came across it, what did you think of it?
I didn't see it. I know it was Bad Bunny who done it.
Yeah,
And Green Day done the opening of the
yeah,
show, I think. So I was kind of intrigued to see how Green Day were going to do because obviously Green Day are very democratic. They're very liberal. They've spoken out. against MAGA a couple of times, and they've changed the lyrics to their songs to, speak up against the oppression that's going on in the States at the moment. So I was
Hmm.
interested to see. It looks like anything that was done was censored, unfortunately. And they were given very strict warnings from what I can see of if they were to do something like that. Um, but yeah, I didn't actually watch. I've never ever watched a Super Bowl halftime show. If I'm being honest with you.
For honest, I just kind of like something I just kind of it comes up on my page every year, and I just if I have time or if it's people are talking about it, I watch it. And I thought this year I think he did a great job. I thought it was very formatted. He highlighted a lot of key issues that are happening in the States at the moment. He had like a lot of symbolization to like Puerto Rico, where he's from, and then kind of talked about the different people living in America. At the end of the show, then he kind of mentioned a lot about all the countries that live within America that make America so great. Bolivia, Paraguay, Puerto Rico, basically Latin America, kind of showed highlights towards them. He also had a wedding made mid the performance, which was really interesting. But I think he wanted to show like what kind of style of Puerto Rican weddings were like. And then he also had one interesting thing that I thought was interesting to bring up during the performance. He recently won a Grammy. I don't know if you've seen that for Album of the Year. He gave the Grammy to the kid that was picked up by ICE. Now this kid was 5 years old. I don't know if you remember this. About a month ago, was picked up by ICE and brought into confinement, and then he was later then released. Pretty shocking from an outsider's perspective looking in that the situation in America has gotten so bad that they're proceeding to pick up children. But I just thought it was he. I thought that besides the performance and the music and the choreography that was involved in it, I thought he just did a really good job of highlighting what's major issues in America right now. And fair play to him. What
Yeah,
El Benito?
one thing that comes around every single year with the Super Bowl, I feel like this is like an annual debate that comes up,
Hmm.
but it's like, oh, is the Super Bowl bigger than the Champions League, or is the Super Bowl bigger than the World Cup final? And the answer to
No,
both of those questions is fucking no.
no.
Simply because like the World Cup, absolutely no way. Like the World Cup is watched by I literally think like half of the population of the world tune into the World Cup final. Like it
Yeah.
brings in billions. And like for contrast, I saw some figures on yesterday. So yeah, on Monday, more people watched Liverpool versus City on Sky Sports than watched the Super Bowl, and that's not just in the UK. Like versus the U, like that's like more people worldwide watched City versus Liverpool than they watched the Super Bowl. And
You also got to remember that it's only played in the States as well, so that's kind of like
this
probably
is
the
it. Like
major effect.
even when it comes to the Champions League, where that's like a European competition, but like people from all over the world watch the Champions League final. Like people like from South America, like following the Brazilian and Argentinian and Mexican leagues, and like people who watch the American MLS as well. Like they all tune into the Champions League final. That's the biggest game in the club calendar every single year. It's not the same on the opposite. It's mainly just the USA. I know there is a big following of NFL in Ireland, in the UK, in other countries. I'm not oblivious to that, but it's nowhere near the level of like that level of population of popularity of the NFL in like Ireland, England, anywhere else is nowhere near the level of popularity of football in America, soccer in America, if you will.
I think that's why
Um,
we call it the world. It's like the world's game because like everybody, like anyone that like everywhere across the world, everyone plays football or
yeah,
soccer, is the way the
but you
Americans say.
can play it.
But yeah,
Yes,
yeah, anyone can kick a ball.
exactly.
Also, Sean had something interesting he wanted to bring up as well that he noticed this week.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk over the last couple of days about Eni Aluko. And she was basically on a podcast recently. For anybody who doesn't know Eni Aluko, she's a former England international. She played for the Lionesses. She's got, I think, about like 104 caps, 110 caps. She's very, very well decorated and accomplished when it comes to the women's football game. And fair play to her. However, just because you were good at football, and there's many, many examples of this across the board, I'm sure across sports, does not mean you're a good pundit, right?
Hmm.
And I've watched many games that Annie has been a pundit on, and she always she's not a great pundit, right? She's not my cup of tea. I personally would roll my eyes if she was on. Nothing to do with the fact that she is a woman. just the fact that she's a bad punter. There's plenty of other male pundits I feel very, very similarly over. Like when they're on, I'm just like, oh god. And likewise, there's lots of female pundits that I really, really like. I'm a big fan of Laura Woods, big fan of Lucy Ward on TNT. I think there's some great female pundits out there. Any is just not one of those pundits, and she has lost a lot of work recently, and she's been coming out recently and saying lots of really negative things about the likes of Ian Wright. And there was another guy who's that fella that used to play for QPR and City. He was a centre back on FIFA with like
Joey Barton.
Joshua on Onugu or on Wogu.
Oh,
or
Joshua
like
Onugu, yeah.
That's it. So those two lads have been massive advocates for the women's game. And so basically there was a final recently where Ian Wright and Joshua were part of the punditry team. Those two lads and four other women. The four other women again were like, very well accomplished female footballers, like, that have done lots to help grow the women's game. But Annie has like basically just been pissing and going, Ian Wright and Joshua should be ashamed of themselves and they should be turning those roles down and offering them to other women and blah blah. And she's doing nothing but damaging the reputation of herself and the female punditry, like, because it's making it, she's just throwing her toys out of the pram, like, and it's a shame because, like we said there, like Ian and Joshua have been such massive advocates for the women's game. Like they are genuinely passionate, and we need more male figures like them who are passionate about the women's game to get more lads to watch the women's game.
Mm-hmm.
As we know, like Ian Wright's like as much as he's as an Arsenal legend. I like Ian Wright. He's a good pundit. He's a good bloke. He was a great footballer. And to have someone who is so supportive of the women's game be like it's basically like she's shaming him for being an advocate in a way, like.
It's definitely interesting. I think I didn't cover much about the topic this week. I didn't really see much about it until Shaun was kind of filling me in about it. But it is something that's kind of interesting to see from an outsider perspective because I know how much Ian Wright advocates for the game and is very highly involved within the Arsenal club as well. So yeah, interesting one. It'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out over the next couple of months with him being involved in punditry and the women's game and stuff. Maybe it might be talked about on that breakfast show with Gary Neville.
Yeah,
never know.
Yeah, and it's a shame. Like I said, like we both say, it does so much for the game, and it puts a bad taste in the mouth for people who are willing to venture into watching the women's game. Like it's kicking the toys out of the pram. It's not a good look. And like I say this with like good intent as somebody like I don't actively watch the women's game an awful lot. I will sometimes stick it on in the background, like and tune into half an hour here or there, But like the women's game needs more support, like and stuff like this from Eni Aluko is just gonna drive people further away from the game, like So like it's not a good look, and like she's doubled down on it as well. Like she's like asked Ian Wright publicly for an apology. When he's done nothing wrong, all he's done is accepted the job that was offered to him, like
Yeah.
So if she's gonna go after anybody, go after the higher ups in the BBC and ITV. But even at that, she's totally in the wrong about it as well, in my opinion.
I mean, we already seen what happened to Gary Lineker in that situation as well. So,
but it's like Gary Lineker tries to do the right thing, then he gets told that there's your notice.
Yeah, well, things work out like that in the bigger picture of things. But it'd be interesting to see how that plays out over the coming weeks. We'll move into our final section of the podcast, guys. We've got your distance dilemmas. Recently, Shaun put a form in our Instagram page. You'll see it once you click into the top of the page. There's a link there. You can put in your distance dilemmas. We're always looking for more over the coming weeks. They're all anonymous. They come in through us. We don't know who they're from. All you have to do is stick in your details. And I think I don't have to ask for a name. Yeah, sorry, no name or anything. You just stick in your dilemma, and it'll come through for us. So we've got two new ones here for this week, and that I'm going to read them out and we're going to dissect them. So the first one I have here is, I keep starting new hobbies with so much excitement, but I lose interest so fast. Have you got any advice or opinions on why this could be happening or how I could improve? Or how I could improve, sorry, should I say. Do you want to go first in this one?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think it's something I definitely did when I was a teenager. it was kind of like a joke that like my nan and granddad purposely bought me a very cheap guitar for my first guitar because I tried to do art, I tried to do golf, I tried my hand at a few sports and wasted a fair amount of money buying equipment for these things that never materialized. You know, um, honestly, when it comes to, I think it's really, but I think it's really good that you're trying things and you're trying new hobbies and seeing what sticks. And like, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. The only kind of thing is like if you're spending a lot of money on lots of equipment, like I kind of just gave an example of there, and stuff is just piling up in your house. You know, once you fall for something, like I'm going to use the best example I have, because I know it. But in the case of like learning how to play guitar, you know, so I think a lot of people think you need to spend like an hour every single day sitting down, learn how to play guitar, and like learning to play your guitar, like you have to build muscle and calluses in your finger and muscle memory. Like it's quite a sore, tedious process starting to learn that. 10 to 15 minutes a day is all it takes for you to make massive strides in guitar day on day. Another thing that I done to kind of like help me with that, and again, I'm using this just because it's an area that I know, but as you can see in shot here, all my guitars, I can just take them off and play them. I don't have to take them out of a case. I don't need to set anything up. I can pick up, I have two guitars to my left here, I have one behind me, I have three over here. I can just grab and go with them. So I think like with your hobby, like, try and make it as like accessible as possible. Like, so, if it's learning keys, for example, like if you want to learn piano or something like that, have it so it's just out and ready to go, and try and take away the steps that like put barriers in front of it, like like even if it's simple little things like a 5 minute setup that you don't mind doing, it just, you want to kind of ride with the momentum of, oh, I want to do this, like, so for me, that would be my advice on it. And why it's happening, like, just one of the things that the message says there is why it could be happening. It does tend to be a slight trait of ADHD. Now, I don't know if I have that or not. I don't know if you have that or not. I'm not saying you have that, but I know that it's a trait that is very commonly associated with that. So, it could be something to consider. Again, I'm not saying you have ADHD. I'm not saying that anybody has ADHD. I'm just saying, like, you ask why this could be happening. I've heard that is, one of the reasons, like,
Hmm. I think kind of on what Sean said about, I do think it's good to always try new hobbies. And it's something that I've picked up and dropped so many times. Like, I remember I borrowed the guitar from Shaun, tried to learn that for a while, gave up doing that, did poetry for a while, gave up doing that, game, and I stopped doing for a long time. So, like, I do feel like with hobbies, unless you find something that you deeply are connected to, I think it's really hard for you to stick with it. But I do think on the opportunity of trying things, I don't think that you should ever stop doing that. And I, like you kind of Sean said, like it does tendency like to be a thing that you do in your teens. But for, like I said before, like long time, trying to find hobbies that you're really interested in, you could be 50 by the time you realize you want to be something. You know what I mean? So there's no really time scale for me, I think, with hobbies.
I
I
think
would
if there
also
is,
say
sorry, I thought you were done with that. You go ahead.
no, 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 that's good. I also think that there's like on the concept of like why it's happening. It could be a thing that you initially, when you're finding something new or you're starting something new, there's like that excitement feeling that you like bottle up and then you release it all at once. I think the problem is like most people is they like get solely involved into for like 2 weeks, and then their expectations of what the hobby is doesn't reach the level of what they think it was beforehand, if that makes sense. If they don't co-interact of what the idea of the hobby was going to be. And then just to finish it off, and I'll let Sean speak a bit more. I was saying that I think Sean's idea, what you were saying there, like visually seeing the hobby that you want to do without having the barriers aspect of it is probably a great idea. If you visually see it in front of you, like I always say to Nicola, for example, like she recently has been trying to get into reading, and I said what she should do is she should leave the book by her bed, and then before you sleep every night, read 10 pages. Because like I know 10 pages doesn't seem like a lot, but if you keep reading 10 pages every day, you just build good habits that in the long run, then you can build on it. Read 15 pages, read 20 pages, read 30 pages. And necessarily that doesn't work the best for everyone, but it's just something that I've noticed with little things. Trying to build up hobbies and habits is always better to do it start slow and then build your way up. It's the same with the gym or like learning guitar or anything. It's like Shaun said, it's 15 minutes a day. It's great.
Yeah, and also like one of the things that kind of pops into my head there, and you like kind of brushed on it there a little bit as well, is but like have I think if you're picking up a hobby, now this like kind of is dependent on the hobby, but have like a goal in set yourself like achievable short term goals for that hobby. So again, like if it's playing guitar, being able to play chords, like it's just say to yourself, oh, by 2 weeks time I want to be able to do this, and like just set yourself goals and try and reach those and like make them small and very achievable. Like if it's origami, like being able to do your first piece within a few weeks, like don't just kind of go in blind. Try and set yourself like a small little goal, and maybe have like 5 goals lined up back to back, and that way you can kind of like dive into that hobby a little bit more, and hopefully then by the time you've reached that kind of fifth simple goal, you're up and running then, and then you're able to go. Because like I was kind of talking about the 15 minutes of guitar stuff there, like that was like a massive thing of like just pick the guitar up for a few minutes. And like now often, like Simone will tell you, because I make plenty of noise, like I won't even be like, oh, I need to practice guitar today. I'll just look at one of my guitars on my wall over here, I'll pick it up and I'll just start playing, and I could be there for 10 minutes or I could be there for an hour whacking away, and that's without a particular plan at the moment, because obviously I'm playing like 10 years. I know how to play the guitar to a fairly decent level, if I do say so myself. But yeah, like I just wanted to finish that kind of point off by saying, like, maybe try and set yourself a plan and have those kind of like short-term goals relating to your hobby, whether it's music, crocheting, origami, knitting, reading, whatever it could be. Like, I think that 10 pages thing, like Imran said, is a really, really good idea if reading
Yeah,
is your hobby.
yeah. I think we'll just move on to our second one that we have
Mhm.
here. Lately I've been noticing that I am comparing my life to other people online a lot. I've been thinking about deleting some apps to be more present and grateful for what I have and where I am in life now. But I'm in a dilemma because I'm worried about missing out shows socially, if that makes sense. Um, yeah, I think the biggest thing as well, actually, and it's funny because this kind of came up recently with one of my mates back at home. It's kind of a guy that I was friends with for a long time growing up, and we worked in the same job together, and then we kind of lost contact for a while, and then recently we just kind of got talking again on WhatsApp. We just came to a know, and he was telling me like he deleted social media about 3 to 4 years ago, and like joking about well, like he's got a new hairline, he's got new teeth, and he's recently married to his long term girlfriend, and they have a baby now. And I know it's funny like these concepts like socially what we're talking about like hairline and stuff, teeth and like that. But I was saying like so much has happened to him in the space of like 4 years. But he was saying like for him the biggest thing was he realized what mattered in his life. And like for him, it wasn't having the social online presence and pushing this idea of because like me and Shaun have said this before on the podcast and stuff, like the idea of social media and Instagram and TikTok, it's like to show this great life that you live, but people don't show the aspects of when they're crying at home and the deeper things that are going on in their life. So I feel like it might be a good idea to put your social media on hold. It's something that I do now. Every time I go on holidays, I just completely log off all my apps, and just completely disconnect and try to be more present when I'm on holidays. But again, it's something that I would say not necessarily you have to do straight away, but I think the best thing you can do is try take a break for a while and figure out what's the purpose of you using social media. Like, are you using social media for attention? Are you using it for to post pictures of your friends? Are you using it to connect with others? Like, try find what's the purpose of you using social media first, and then I think you'll be better able to understand, is there a good time to take a break from missing out. And then one more thing, but I'll ask Shaun speak. On the social aspect, I would say the best thing you can do is like kind of like I spoke about it before, is make the initial contact with your friends and make the push, like text them, pick up the phone, it takes 2 seconds. And then once you do that, then vice versa, you start to feel the connection back with your friends. That's just something I've noticed from living abroad, but I'll let Shaun speak on it because I spoke a lot there.
Yeah, I totally agree with pretty much everything Imran had to say there. Like, And something that like I really want to emphasize, we've mentioned it before, and Imran touched on it there as well. Is like everyone on social media is putting the best version of themselves up there. Like everyone on social media is having the best day of their lives. You know, not there's not a lot of people out there who are putting their darkest days up on social media, where there was a family fight, or like they had a rough day at work, stuff like that. It's only ever the best version of people that you're seeing on social media. Now, that's not to say there isn't people out there that put their bad days up. They absolutely do. But you're comparing, you're comparing it, like, let's say if like on an average day you're feeling 6 out of 10. That's not great. That's not terrible. That's just like, yeah, grand. I'm like, slightly above half. I'm in a decent mood. And what you're seeing online is people really at their 9 and their 10 out of 10s. You know, and that's what you're comparing to for the most part. Like, so I think just like being conscious of that and not taking too much note of like, like, okay, just because today I'm feeling 4 out of 10, and looking at this person who has this job, who has this lifestyle, and you know like making those comparisons is you're always going to be at a disadvantage, because this is something I've spoken about to my friends in music, because like there's a big thing of like, comparing yourselves to other artists your size, but it's like, everybody has a different backstory, has a different has a different pathway to get where they are now. Like, so while as an artist, and we might have like similar followers, we might do similar numbers, we might sell a similar number of tickets, like somebody like, they may have had to climb bigger hurdles. I might have had to climb bigger hurdles at different points in my life to lead you there, like, and while at this point it's all culminating and it all looks very similar, and like, everyone's living their best life, it's like, well, there was like struggle to get to this point as well, and that's what you don't see online. You don't see the struggle, you don't see the heartache, you don't see the nitty gritty. You only see the kind of end results and the perfect, and like I said, the 9 and the 10 out of 10s, like, and like Imran brushed on this as well about like, who are you following on social media? If you're like, if you're following like, I don't understand why anybody is following Kim Kardashian. She's not your friend. She doesn't know who you are. Fair enough, you watch the reality program, you think she's funny, or you think she's a good businesswoman or whatever. All right, grand. But if those are the type of people you're comparing yourself to, or like, if it's somebody you went to school with that you haven't seen in 10 years, and like they come from a family that maybe has like a little bit more money, so they were able to get some opportunities a little bit easier. They were able to go to nicer colleges. Some other doors were open for them in different avenues. Like, like if you're comparing yourself to people like that, like, it's like it's a different ball game. Like, like me and Imran both come from like working class backgrounds, and like, I come from a single parent income household, like, like, so there was definitely different hurdles I had to climb, like, compared to other people. That's not to say I've had the hardest upbringing. Not at all. There's people who have much harder, like, upbringings and stuff. But I'm just kind of like saying, like, when comparing things, everybody's had a different pathway to get to where they are. And one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you is unfollow anybody who doesn't add value to your feed. So if they're not a close friend, family member, if like, the people I follow, like musicians, and like, if they don't bring me, if they're not my friend, if they don't entertain me, or they're not somebody I want to aspire to be like, I don't follow them. Simple as. That's how I kind of like to approach it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of covered most of the grounds of things there. I think the last piece of advice I would say is try just find out who you want to present yourself as online and in person, I suppose, as well, probably the major point. And then try to see disintegrate yourself from comparing. But it's not easy. Again, it's very easy to fall into the trap of trying to compare yourself to people that
Yeah.
are in a better situation than where you are now.
Yeah, just
But
to
yeah,
kind of touch on the second half of the message, because we kind of we
yeah,
focused very heavily on the first part of that message.
yeah.
Deleting some of your apps is an answer in some form, but it also might just be pushing the issue onto another app then as well. I think you need to think kind of why you use social media in a bigger kind of context, like, focus on like, what apps, like, if you're on TikTok for entertainment, if you're on Instagram to keep up with friends, like, I know that's how I compartmentalize these things. Like, I say TikTok is for entertainment, Instagram's for keeping up with my friends and family. Twitter is just for pure chaos and it's entertainment more than anything else. Facebook is like, I'm only on Facebook for Facebook Marketplace. Really, I don't use Facebook. I don't scroll on Facebook for anything. It's kind of dead at this point. Like, but think about what, like, what you're using these apps for, and delete the ones that aren't bringing any value to you. Like, absolutely. And just there was another part. Oh, the worry about missing out socially, if that makes sense. I get what you mean, but I think what's meant for you won't pass, really. And whether that's like your friends, it's like if your friends want to go on a night out, they will text you. Doesn't matter if they text you on Instagram. Doesn't matter if they text you on WhatsApp. If your friends want you somewhere, they will text you. It might be a good way to filter out some noise as well in your life, and like find out who your real friends are as well. Could be a valuable lesson in that way as well. But I wouldn't. I don't think. While I understand where you're coming from, I don't think it will make a massive difference. Like the people who love you and the people who want you will still reach out, whether you're on social media or not. Like they'll have your number, and if they don't have your number, they're probably not close enough to, really care. Anyway, that might sound a bit harsh, but like if they don't have your phone number, they're probably not that close to you. Is what I'm really trying to say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, have you got any more thoughts on that? Sorry, I know I rambled on quite a bit there.
I think we've covered all. I think we've covered every insect,
Every
dissect,
nook and
everything.
cranny.
Every nook and cranny.
Cool, right. Well, guys, I suppose this is where we're going to wrap up this episode of The Distance Dilemma. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. If you would like us to listen to your distance dilemmas, you can send them in, as Imran mentioned. If you go to the link in our Instagram bio, there's a form there. You can submit your dilemmas. It's all totally anonymous. We cannot see any information from anybody who sends anything in. We can just see your answer. So yeah, please send us in your dilemmas through the link in our Instagram page, and we'll also pop it on our story throughout the week as well. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for listening to episode number 52 of Distance Dilemma. My name is Shaun, and I'm in Dublin, Ireland. This has been Imran. He is in Thun, Switzerland. And this has been our Long Distance Friendship podcast. We'll be back next week at 6 a.m. Irish time and 7 a.m. Central European time. Until then, thank you very much and goodbye.